Hello everyone, Jai Hind and welcome to the platform of Study IQ IAS in English. My name is Bhavar Singh Surya, MX India 115th course and qualified civil services in 2012. And I welcome you on the platform. And this session we'll be talking about the India's monsoon which have stalled. And ultimately over here, there's the report of the deficit in June 2026 as well. So over here, when it comes to the deficit, we have seen that the India Southwest monsoon have faced an alarmingly the stalling phase that we are seeing right now, where the deficit or the early June rain deficit, it has ranged from 35 to 40%. And the monsoon this time in India, it has started late, or the onset was late, which have entered India or the Kerala coast on 4th of June. And when it comes to the progress of the monsoon, so it must have progressed towards Maharashtra and Gujarat as well, but it has been stalled, or the progress had been halted abruptly across these important and the crucial regions that we are talking about right now. Now, because of this stalled rains, so this has also triggered the severe heat wave conditions in the central, in the eastern, as well as in the northern India, and the Kharif sowing of the key crops like paddy, oilseed, and the pulses, they have also came to a standstill. So this have urged the state intervention as well that we have seen recently, and that is why this topic is very important for understanding why that the monsoon have stalled, or it has it has postponed and it is not moving ahead. So there are three major reasons for this particular condition that we are seeing right now. The first one is the dry air intrusion, where we have the persistent dry air mass that is repeatedly intruding over the western as well as central India. Now, because of this intrusion of the of the dry air, so it is acting as a barrier and it is blocking the marine moisture, convection, and even the cloud formation. The second important factor that is here why this monsoon have stalled is the unfavorable MJO. MJO that stands for the Madden-Julian oscillation. So basically, this is the traveling of the atmospheric wave, and it has entered a suppressed or the unfavorable phase that we are seeing right now, which have deprived the Arabian Sea of the convective support that should have been there for the progress of the monsoon. And there is also westerly dominance. Now, what has happened is that we have the weak tropical monsoon pulses that have failed to push the mid-latitude westerlies northward, and this has allowed the westerly wind or the westerly winds to descend towards the southward and ultimately stall the monsoon advancement in India. So these are the three major factors which have resulted into the stalling of the Indian monsoon right now. Now you can see that first one is the dry air intrusion, where you can see that this is the map, and here there is no intrusion. But at the same time, now you can see that there is the intrusion that is happening of the dry air masses, and that is blocking the advancement of the monsoon. The second important factor is basically the MJO. Now, MJO is basically a kind of oscillation that happens in the oceans. All right, in the we have the eastward movement that is there. There is a positive phase, there is a negative phase as well. Now, positive phase is where we have the upward motion of the air circulation, and that results into better rainfalls or better monsoon in India. But right now we have the negative phase towards the Indian Ocean, and that is again the reason why the monsoon had been stalled in India. And the third is the westerly dominance. Now, when it comes to the westerly dominance, please remember that there is the westerly jet stream. Now, when it comes to this jet stream or the westerly jet stream that you are seeing over here, it actually gets bifurcated into two because of the Tibetan Plateau and the Himalayas. There is the southward expansion of the westerly jet stream that actually brings the western disturbances in the winter season. But now what happens in the summer is because of the push of the of the monsoon, and also because of the easterly jet stream that is a temporary jet stream that starts from the East China Sea. So this southern expansion of the westerly jet stream that gets pushed upwards, but that has not happened because of the weak monsoon pulses that we are seeing, and these three cumulatively are the reason why the monsoon have stalled in India. And you can see over here the key data statistics that had been released. So over here in the northwest India, there had been increase of the 5%, and this is normal, that is within the range. But when it comes to the east and northeast India, there is a deficit of 43%. In the central India, it is 63% deficit in the early early June, that is a severe deficit, and in the southern peninsula, the deficit is of 14%. Now, this deficit is calculated on the basis of the LPA, or the long period average, which is the benchmark of the average rainfall calculated over a period of 50 years. And ultimately over here, this is how the rainfall anomaly is calculated. That is the percentage that you are seeing over here. So this anomaly is calculated when we calculate the actual rainfall minus the LPA, that is divided by LPA, and then it is multiplied by 100. So that gives us the rainfall anomaly, that if the rainfall have increased or it has decreased over the period of time. Now, over here, it is very important that this rainfall deficit will have the social impact, because this will lead to distress migration, where because of this, what will happen? So monsoon delay, it will lead to the agrarian losses, and ultimately there will be job losses, and that will bring, or it will force the marginal farmers or the laborers which are there to migrate towards the urban centers. There will be also the gendered water burden, because ultimately there will be the dropping of the water tables. Now, because of this dropping of the water tables, it will force the rural women to travel to much longer distances for sourcing the potable water for drinking purposes. And then there is the nutritional insecurity as well, because there will be price shocks in the basic groceries that will limit the macro as well as micro nutrient uptake or the intake among the economically weaker sections. And also there will be the mental health crisis, because the severe agrarian crisis that we are seeing, or the stress that will be because of the failed monsoon, that will lead to it will trigger the mental health vulnerability among the farmers. And we have seen that India is among such a nation where we have seen lots of farmer suicides because of the failed monsoon, or because of the failed crops that are there. Now, there are also the macroeconomic threats and the risks. The first one is about the sowing as well as the production stagnation. So there would be Kharif decline because of the delay in the monsoon, and it will reduce the yields of the water sensitive or the water intensive crops. Like, for example, we have pulses and the paddies, and that will increase the export and import dependencies. Then there is input cost uptakes as well, or the spikes, ultimately where we will be forced, there will be forced reliance on the tube well diesel pumping and the secondary seed sourcing as well. And that will reduce the profit margins for the farmers. Also, when it comes to the inflation and the contraction of the demand, that is also a threat and the risk because of the delayed monsoon. Because there would be core food inflation, where the prices will increase for the pulses, vegetables, and the oil seeds, and that will affect the consumer basket, and it will keep the interest rate high as well. And there will be depressed rural demand, of course, because of the loss of the job, because of the loss of the prices that the farmers will get, and because of the crop failures. So ultimately that will suppress the rural income. And ultimately, if the income will be suppressed, so that will suppress the demand in itself. And there will be less of the demand for the sectors like FMCG, for the cement, and for the commercial vehicles as well. Now, over here, there is the administrative action plan that had been decided, and there is a contingency map where the urban the Union Agriculture Minister, it has identified that there are nearly about 200 of the highly vulnerable, rain-fed districts which are there. Now, over there, there had been the thing that the ministry has asked the state government so that there could be the crop-wise alternative contingency sowing instructions that could be deployed. And the ministry have asked that instead of the water-intensive crops, the farmers, they must sow the cotton as well as the maize, or we have the coarse grains that are there. They must be sown in these regions. At the same time, when it comes to the input subsidies, so there is a mobilizing of quick supply chains for the short duration drought tolerant seed variants, and also there is a stabilizing of the local demand or the supply logistics for the fertilizers. There's also fiscal intervention that must be done, evaluating the immediate crop insurance through the Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana, and streamlining the VBG Ramji, the new act that is replacing the Manrega for the work demand, and utilizing the microcredit support channels which are present. Now, over here, it is very important that this is clubbed by the Super El Nino. Now, this is again a very important risk factor that we are talking about, where there had been the atmospheric warning that is occurring when the central and this eastern Pacific water, they experience the prolonged warning. and ultimately that disrupts the monsoon winds. The El Nino, it suppresses the thermal convection that is present over the Indian Ocean, and thereby it weakens the monsoon system or the pressure gradient that must be present for the winds to travel from the Indian Ocean towards the Indian mainland. Now, this is double whammy that we are talking about, where we have the absence of the positive Indian Ocean dipole as well. Now, Indian dipole, ocean dipole, it is just like the El Nino, where we have the positive phase that actually triggers the rainfall, or you can say that it triggers the more rainfall in the Indian Sea, Indian region. Now, there is absence of the positive Indian dipole that we are seeing, and ultimately there is no natural oceanic buffer mechanism that is present to stop the drought like conditions that may be there, and the persistent warnings or the super El Nino that will be there. So this is also a threat when it comes to the winter crops, because ultimately it will compound the risk for the winter rabi irrigation as well when it comes to the super El Nino that we are talking about right now. So what happens is in El Nino that there is the warming of the ocean temperatures when it comes to the Pacific Ocean. So in the Pacific Ocean, you can see that this is the East Pacific and this is the Central Pacific. So what happens is that there is warming of the East Pacific and the Central Pacific. That is what we term as the El Nino. But if there is extensive warm anomaly that ranges from 2 to 4 degrees Celsius above the normal or above the average, that is termed as the super El Nino. And right now, there is a risk of the super El Nino, where lots of the organizations, the meteorological organization, whether it is World Meteorological Organization or the organization of Japan, they have said that there is the super El Nino that is building in the Pacific Ocean. That is again a threat to the Indian monsoon that we are talking about right now. Now, over here, we have seen that in the past, there had been the severe historical droughts that were there in 2009, in 2014 as well. Ahead, and they have showed that the early June deficits often that cascade into the full season deficits that we see, and this is also when El Nino anomalies are persistent over the Pacific Ocean. Now, at the present, we know that India is much prepared, and India is in a better position when it comes to the preparation that we have today with the proper radar networks. We have the remote sensing models and the contingency buffers as well. However, it is very important that there are persistent risks when it comes to the supply chain bottlenecks, like for example, for fertilizer, because we have already seen that had been, integrated, or that had been aggravated because of the West Asian crisis that were present since 28th of February. Also, when it comes to the future, there are the climate change models that they predict that there will be highly extreme monsoon, which will be not predictable. There would be longer, intense dry spells, which will be punctuated by unpredictable short bursts of the localized rain. And again, that is the climate change risk that will be there when it comes to the monsoon. And we have seen its implication in the last summer as well, when it comes to the flooding of the Himachal as well as Uttarakhand state. And we have seen that there was lots of lives as well as property because of this. So this is again very, very important. But at the same time, when it comes to the monsoon, it is not just about the crop. It is not just about the Rabi season or the Kharif season. The monsoon, the delay in the monsoon is also about the water crisis, because there will be the reservoir that will deplete because of the prolonged rainfall deficit, and ultimately there will be live water shortage down to the critical levels that will hamper the drinking water as well, all right, or the drinking supplies as well. Now, this is again a major factor that we must see in the broader picture. At the same time, there will be groundwater exploitation, because if there will be no or lack of monsoon rainfall, so the agriculture dependence, it will shift towards the tube wells as well as, it will shift towards the extracting the groundwater for the agriculture purposes, and that will also strain the groundwater as well, and it will lower the regional water table also. So now over here, this is the challenges that is there in the monsoon management. The first one is the low irrigation cover that we have, because over 50% of the net sown area that is there, or the net cropped area that we have, it remains entirely dependent upon the rain. And there is deep canal infrastructure that remains structurally incomplete, or it is highly uneven in India. Now, there is also the another risk or the challenge that is of the distorted cropping, because when it comes to MSP, MSP is the minimum support price that is given. And the incentives that are given, they are highly shifted, or they have shifted towards the production of the water intensive crop. like for example, sugarcane and the paddy in the dry zone, and that is draining the critical irrigational and the regional aquifers that should have been there. All right. At the same time, when it comes to the Fasal Bima Yojana, all right, so we have the voluntary uptake of the Prime Minister crop insurance scheme that is low because of the delayed payouts that had been there, because of the complex claim assessment, and even the localized implementation loopholes. And that is again a factor or the challenge that must be taken into account when it comes to monsoon management in India. Now, what are the structural reforms that India must do? The first one is to shift towards the climate resilient agriculture, where we must introduce and scale the drought tolerant, early maturing, and biofertile or fortified seed varieties, especially for the millets and the pulses that that should be there, and that will bypass the seasonal delays that are there of the monsoon. The second structural reform that we must push is the decentralized irrigation, where we must mandate that there should be localized micro irrigation, that is the drip or the sprinkler systems that must be utilized under the Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana or PMKSY. And we should build the farm ponds so that we can decouple the agriculture from the direct monsoon reliance as well. And there should be the cropping pattern shift. And when I'm talking about cropping pattern shift, we have 15 of the agroclimatic zones that are there. Now, we have to restructure the crop MSP and realign and align the incentivization so that we can structure it with a regional agroclimatic zone, and we should move towards the scientific agriculture in India, where the agriculture should be combined with the climatic factors. So these are the 15 of the agroclimatic zones that are there in India, and using the agroclimatic regions, we must plan the crop diversification and we must move towards the climate resilient agriculture in India. That is the only solution. So that would be all in this session. I hope that this is understood by every one of you. I will see you in the next video. But before going, let me tell you that if you are preparing for the civil services, then we have the GS Foundation course. Now, this is course for those who will be appearing in 2027, 2028 or for 2029 examination. Now, today is the last date for the 50% off that we are giving you on the foundation batch, and even for any of the batch that you will be enrolling in the on the platform of Study IQ. Now, for this, what you need to do is, for grabbing this offer today is the last day, and you can use this offer by using the code BRS Live when you are purchasing the course. All right. And remember, this is the last day that we are offering you with 50% off. And if you encounter any problem, you can call us as well on 764000300. That is our number. All right. So that would be all. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me over here on the platform of Study IQ IS. I will see you in the next. But till then, please do take care of yourself. And thank you. And do not forget to share the session, to like the session, and also subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of the updates in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye and Jai Hind.